Jenkins. Jenkins is going to automate creation of Docker image, which is going to be secured and uploaded on Docker Hub. Now, once we have this process automated, we are going to integrate monitoring using Prometheus and Grafana. This Prometheus and Grafana is going to monitor our EC2 instance as well as Jenkins to check different things in Jenkins, like how much is CPU, how much is RAM, what are some successful jobs, what are failed jobs. Along with this, any of the job is failed or success, we are also going to get notifications on our email using SMTP. And once we automate this, we are going to deploy the application on Kubernetes using Argo CD, the GitOps tool, and we will have monitoring on our Kubernetes cluster, which is going to be installed through Helm charts. And once we do this, we are going to have an application similar to this, which will be on our cloud. So this is our architecture. Now, an important note before we start with the project. This project is actually very lengthy, and most of you will come across issues and errors while on section. This project is duster. You a lot, and Mr. Cloud, and you want ref. Yeah, that's all. Let's go.
Alright, let's start with deploying our Netflix application on AWS using DevSecOps practices. So in this video, we will be integrating security right from the start using tools like SonarQube, Trivy, OWASP, and a lot more. For this, you will need an AWS account, and I already have checks created to help you follow along the steps. First thing, whenever you want to deploy an application is to create a server. We are going to use EC2 instances for Jenkins and other stuff, but when our application is created and we have a Docker file ready, which is going to be very secure, then we deploy the application on Kubernetes using Argo CD. So we also are going to integrate GitOps in this. Let's start with first creating a T2 large instance for Jenkins and also for SonarQube and Trivy. So why are we using T2 large instance? This is because in our Jenkins, we are going to do a lot of stuff. We are going to install a lot of different plugins. So we need to have a big server. So I'm going to create a server. Let's name this as Netflix Jenkins or anything you can name it. For operating system or AMI, I'm going to use Ubuntu 22. Now scroll down to select the instance type, and that is going to be T2 large. I know T2 large is not in free tier, but if you want to learn something, you have to spend some amount of money, and this project is going to teach you a lot. You will learn everything about Jenkins, about SonarQube, how it works, what is Trivy, and all the other stuff. So this is going to be a very good project if you are someone who wants to learn about DevOps or DevSecOps. Now for key pair, I'm going to create a key pair that I already have. If you don't have it, you can go ahead and create a new key pair. For Linux, you can use PEM. Also for Mac, for Windows, you can use PPK, which you can connect through PuTTY or MobaXterm. I have Linux machine, so I already have a key created, and I'm going to use that. Now in the network settings, we are going to use the default VPC and also the subnet. But for firewall or security group, I'm going to create a new security group, which will only have the ports open that we require, or else it's not a secured project if all the ports are open. So we are going to only allow SSH for now, HTTPS and HTTP. This is because when you connect Jenkins with your Docker Hub talks on HTTPS, so we want this. Later on, while we later on add more depending on the requirement. For storage, we are going to add around 25 GB of storage because, as I said, we are going to go with 25, which should be enough, and then go ahead with click on launch instance. In the description, the code is present here. Along with the code, I also have the steps and the commands for you to copy and paste so that it makes easy for you. Now let's see if our instance is ready, and we should be able to Elastic IP. So because this is a lengthy project, you might be doing it into an instance. Let's go and attach Elastic IP. So because this is a lengthy project, you might be doing it in like 2 sittings or 3 sittings. So you need to have Elastic IP attached so that even if you come after your break, and you should have the same IP address after you stop the instance, we will attach an Elastic IP address. So let's go to Elastic IPs in network and security and create an Elastic IP for this server. So I'm going to click on allocate Elastic IP, click on allocate option here. Now an Elastic IP is here. Let's name this as Netflix EIP or Elastic IP. Save this, click on associate Elastic IP and search for the instance on which you want to attach this. So I have many instances here, but I'm going to select the one that I created, which is Netflix Jenkins, and it is in running state. So let's select that, click on associate, and now our Elastic IP is attached. Let's go to the instance again, and this is the instance which is now running. Let's click on connect option. To connect to a server, there are 4 different ways, and you can use any of them if you like. If you have MobaXterm or you have PuTTY in Windows, you can use SSH client. Same for terminal or Mac as well, you can use this. But the easiest way is to connect using EC2 Instance Connect, which is supported by Ubuntu and Amazon Linux. So we are going to use this. So I'm going to click on connect option here, connection. If by any chance you can access security group from here in the security section, I have port 22 open and I have the keeper attached, so I am inside the server. Update -y. Okay, this is going to update all my packages, and then we are going to clone the code from this repo in our machine. So this video is going to be separated in three parts: dev, application locally, then we integrate security into it, then we do the ops part where we are going to do CI/CD, where we are going to do monitoring and also deploy on Kubernetes. The update is finished, so I'm going to do git code from the repo, and we have the code here in a directory named as the files of the project, and we also have a Docker file created. If you just run npm start and npm run, and you can run this project locally, but let's do it with Docker file installed first. So for you to install Docker, you can go to the official documentation, or you can come to my repo. This is the command to install Docker. You just need to copy this and paste it in here. Once you copy and paste it, it will go ahead and start installing Docker. So till the time it is installing, let me explain you. The first command is to update all the packages. Second is to install Docker. Third is to put the Docker in the sudo group so that we don't have to run Docker commands without sudo commands. Then we put the permission 777 on this Docker socket. So once this is done, we should be able to access Docker. Right now, you can see the version is coming up, which means we have Docker installed. Let's do Docker build. See, the version is coming up, which means we have Docker installed as a container. An application should run, then you can integrate -t to add a tag. Let's name this as Netflix, and then dot means get the image, get the file from here. So it's going to start creating an image, and this is usually 16 steps, so it will take some time for the image code, which has the same code that I have on the GitHub, so you don't need to worry. So in this, I have a Docker file here. In the Docker file, you can see the base image is node 16, which means it is created on on node. And then there are work directory copy and other instructions. But the most important one is this argument, which is asking you to have tmdb v3 API key. So if you know about API stands for Application Programming Interface, and it is used to talk between different servers. For example, let's say you have a weather application or you have a Uber application. You want to integrate map and application, the list of all the movies and the series application that we are going to create it in your application. So API stands for Application Programming Interface. In this application that we are going to create, we have the list of all the movies and the series on Netflix, and we want to have an API that can fetch these movies from somewhere and put it in our application. So as you can see, it's still creating. Once this is created, we will try to run the application and see if we are able to get the complete application or not, because the Docker file is asking for an argument and we haven't provided any argument yet. So most likely we will get a blank page which does not have any movies in it. And to troubleshoot that, we need to create an API key which is present on TMDB. So let's go ahead and do that till the time this is going to be created. So I'm going to search for TMDB, and TMDB stands for the movie database, and this is the place where you can get the API to. So if to get the API key, you need to first log into this, and I already have an account created. If you are new, you just need to put your username and password. Now the image is created. I'll do Docker images, and you can see a Netflix image has been created. I think I misspelled it. You can see it's Netflix without I. So let's try to run this. I'm saying Docker run -d -p 8081. Let's run this application on 8081, and then the ID, which is going to be start running the container. Let's open this. Now it will only run if I have port 8081 open in my security group, which is not the case. So if I go back to my security group here, we only have 22, 443 and 80, and this is why it's still loading, and after some time it will give us connection timeout. So to avoid that, we'll go here in our security group and add some ports. So the first port is going to be for the application which is on 8081. So 8081 anywhere IPv4 app port. Similarly, we are also going to add Jenkins in here. So Jenkins runs on port 8080. So I'll say 8080 anywhere IPv4, and this is for Jenkins. Along with this, we also have SonarQube, which runs on port 9000. So I'll say 9000 anywhere IPv4 and SonarQube. So this is what we have for now. If we need more ports, we'll add more ports later on. So let's try to access our application on port 8081 now that we have added the security group. So when I run this, you can see a Netflix coming up and we should be able to see our application. But as we haven't provided any API key, we will get a complete blank one. And if you get this error, which is also the same case for the previous, to fetch the data providing the API key. Settings option. In the settings, you will find API option here. Create your own key because I will be deleting this and this might not work for you. Like this, if you check here in the commands, this is what we ran and we got an error because we didn't have API key for yourself. Once you have the API key, you need to copy this command, which is docker build command, but it's also passing an argument. I'm going to copy this. I'm going to stop that. So if I do docker, let's clear this by Control L. If I have any server, I'm going to stop that and stop this server for now.
All right,
Also,
we
Docker,
are back. We're back. We're back.
RM.
All righty, let's continue. So let us now remember. I gave the example of the race, right? People can leave out.
And then the same one. So this will be removed. If I do docker ps now, I don't have any server which is running or present. Alright, GitHub repo. So I'm going to say docker build hyphen build argument tmd API key, and I need to put my API key here. So let's put the API key, copy and paste using Control Shift V. Once I do this, it will go ahead and start creating the image again. This time it will not take a long time because Docker images are built on layers and they will only do the layer that is not done yet. So it will be done and then we should be able to access our application, which will have all the movies and series as we have seen in this particular. So in our local machine, it's correct. The dependencies are correct. Images, and you can see in docker run -d -p :8081:80, and then the name, which is going to be Netflix. You can either put the image name or image ID, it doesn't matter. Once I run this, it gives you a SHA output, which means the container is running, and now you can refresh this page. You need to remove the browse section here, 8081, and then when you press enter, you should be able to see an application which is having all the movies and the images. This is because now we have API key integrated, so you can see all the images, all the movies and everything, and you can access them as well. So this means now our application is running properly in the local machine. Let's do the sec part, which is tools. One is SonarQube. Most of you might have already heard about SonarQube. SonarQube is a tool to analyze code and to provide you with reports of what is the problem with your code. If there are any issues or any vulnerabilities, you can go ahead and configure it. So for SonarQube, we are deploying this as a container, and you can get the command here. So I'm going to copy this, which is docker run -d, run a container named as Sonar, which should run on port 9000, and this is the image you want to use. So I'm going to copy and paste it. This will go ahead and start fetching the SonarQube image from Docker Hub into our machine. And once the image is done, we should be able to see a container running on port 9000. If you don't have port 9000 open on your security group, go ahead and do it. We already have it open, so that should not be a problem. Now you can see Docker container is also running for Sonar, and I can confirm that by running docker ps. We should have two containers. The first one is the Netflix, and the second one is Sonar. So let's access our SonarQube on port 9000. I'm going to copy it and open it somewhere here. So let's paste this here, :9000. Once you do 9000, you should be able to see this SonarQube page. As the container is created right now, it is going to say take some time, usually a minute, to start, and then we should be able to log into it, and we are going to configure it later on. Along with SonarQube, we are also using a tool named as Trivy, popular open source security tool which is used for scanning vulnerabilities, also to check Docker images or to scan file systems, and we are going to use that too. So for Trivy, I already have the commands in the GitHub, so you can go to this section to install Trivy and copy the commands and paste it here. Now this will install Trivy for us, And let's go and check if our SonarQube is up or not. So you can see SonarQube is here, and it is asking you to log in. So the login and the password for SonarQube default is admin. So I'll just admin here, and the password is also admin. So admin here. Once you log in, it will ask you to change the password, and you can change it. So old password is admin. New password could be something easy. Let's say PASS pass. You can put anything you like, and then update it. Once you do that, you are now inside the SonarQube page, and we are going to make these changes later on when we do the Jenkins part. So if you have this screen, you should be okay. Let me show you what is Trivy now. So we have installed Trivy, and if I type Trivy, I should be able to see all the options, which means Trivy is installed. So you can see Trivy is installed. You can also run Trivy version command to check the version. So as I said, Trivy is another open source security tool. It is used to scan file systems and give you a report of what is the problem with your file systems. Same for your Docker images. So let me show you an example. Let's try to scan the file system first. So right now in this file system, we have different files. As you can see, let's ask Trivy to scan it. So I'll say Trivy fs and space dot s2 scan current one. So yeah, it will scan it, and then you can see it's creating a report. It gives you the vulnerability, that this is a vulnerability which is very high, and you can go and check it out now, right? So you can get this report and also the logs. Similarly, if I want to check an image here, so if I do Docker images and I want to check the vulnerabilities in my Netflix image, I say Docker, Trivy image, and then the name of the image or ID of the image. So I'll say Netflix, or let's put the ID because you might be thinking that I'm scanning the official image which is on Docker app. So I'll do Trivy image this, and it will start scanning it, as you can see. And once the scan has been done, it will give you a report of what is the problem. So there are 8 severities, which is 2 are medium, 6 are high, and 0 are critical. So if you are more concerned about security, you can go and check it out and also change it. So we are using these two tools. So now we have the dev part done, we have the sec part done. We added 2 security tools, Trivy and SonarQube. Let's do the ops part, where we are going to integrate CI/CD pipeline, and we are doing CI/CD using a very popular tool, which is Jenkins. So we are going to install Jenkins, and the command for installing Jenkins are here again on my GitHub. But you can always use the official documentation if you want to. And if you look at this official documentation, you will see that when you want to install Jenkins, you also need to have Java installed, right? Or else you will get an error. So in this GitHub, I also have Java part here, and then the Jenkins part. So I'm going to copy this simply and paste it in our server. So if you're using smaller instance, let's say T2 medium or anything T2 micro, you might see that your instance is very, very slow. And this is because you need to upgrade it T2 large. And if you haven't, you can upgrade it easily by going to your instance, stopping it first, and then going to actions, edit instance settings, check instance type, and make it to bigger instance. But again, if you stop it, the IP will be changed. This is why we have added elastic IP addresses. So coming back here, let's see if our Jenkins is installed or not. And Jenkins runs on port 8080. So if you want to configure Jenkins, you need to make sure that the port 8080 is open in your security group. Now I'm trying to make this as simple as I can, and I'm sure most of you will still have questions, and that's fine. You can ask questions in the comment section, or you can ask me on LinkedIn. But I want to do this project because this project will teach you a lot, and this will also be a very good project on your resume. So make sure you complete this till the end. There are a lot of things you need to learn in this. So now we'll see. You can see setting up Jenkins here. It also created a symlink. Let's wait for some time so that we can access Jenkins and start with creating a CI/CD pipeline for our project. So now Jenkins is installed according to this. To confirm, you can say sudo service Jenkins status. If the status is running, which means it is installed successfully. So I'm going to go and open Jenkins on port 8080. So I'll say 8080, and this will bring me on the sign page for Jenkins. For whenever you start with Jenkins, the password is always stored in this path. So I'm going to copy this path, go to my server, Control C to close this, and Control L to clear the screen. Sudo cat is a command to read the file, and then the path, which is admin password. Once I do this, I get the admin password, which I'm going to copy and paste it in this administrator password section. Let's click on the continue option. Once you click on continue, it will ask you if you want to customize Jenkins by installing suggested plugin or you want to select plugins that you want to install. So I'll go with install suggested plugins, and then let's go ahead and start installing all the suggested plugins for you. So this usually takes some time, which is why I'm going to go to my GitHub and show you the next steps that we are going to do. So as we know, Jenkins is a CI/CD tool, and whenever you want to do CI/CD, you need to make sure that the server or the Jenkins has all the necessary plugins. So this application is on Node, so we need to add Node.js, we need to add Java. We also need to have SonarQube because we are going to integrate SonarQube in our CI/CD pipeline. So we'll add some plugins, and the plugin's name can be found here. So these are the three plugins that we need to install as of now. Later on, we will install more when we add monitoring and when we add Docker as well. So for now, you can see it's asking you to create first admin user. You can create it if you want, but I'm going to skip and continue as admin because I don't want to do that. You can also add your own domain name if you have any, but for this demo I don't have any domain names. I'm going to say save and finish, and yes, Jenkins is ready. Let's start using Jenkins. Okay, so we are inside the Jenkins dashboard. As I said, we need to install some plugins. So let's go to manage Jenkins option here and click on plugin section here. In the plugins, click on many plugins and search for Node.js. This is a plugin you need to install. Along with this, we also need to search for Eclipse. So Eclipse Tamarind installer is used for JDK. So I'll do that. And also SonarQube. So SonarQube scanner. And let's install this. We don't need to actually restart unless Jenkins is asking us to. So if it says success, you don't need to install it. Once you don't need to restart it. So once you install this plugins, you need to go and set them in the tools section. I'll go to tools here, and we will set the tools for Node.js and JDK. You can see the installation here. Click on that JDK, and we are saying it install automatically. Install it from the npm.net, and the version is going to be JDK 70.0.8.1+1, and let's name this as JDK 17. Make sure you use the same name as I did because we are going to use this name in the CI/CD pipeline, and it has to be the same. So in the tool section, we are going to have the same name. So make sure to use the same name or else your pipeline might fail. So once you do that, let's go down and search for Node.js is here. In the Node.js, I'm going to also say install automatically, and I'm going to choose the version is going to be 16.2.0. Yeah, and let's name this as Node 16. You can see the name of the tool is also Node 16. Alright, so once you do that, click on apply option and then click on save. If you remember, we also installed something for SonarQube, but we haven't used it here. This is because we need to connect Sonar with Jenkins, and then we can add a system and then the tool. So let's go to Sonar here and let me show you how to configure it. So in the Sonar, once you have this page, click on administration section and click on security part. Click on users. In the user, you will see administration, and you can get a token here. So click on this update tokens option and put a name. You want to say Netflix, or let's say you can put it Jenkins, and click on generate option, and then copy this token, come back to Jenkins, click on credentials option here. In the credentials, let's edit credentials for all that we create now, because that is going to be used when you get Sonar scanner tool in Jenkins tools section. So I'm going to add credentials, and it's going to be secret text. So put the text here, or the secret here, which is a token that we copied from Sonar here. For ID, I'm going to say Sonar-token, and same for the description. Let's create it. Once you do that, come back to, you should be able to see this, and then come back to manage Jenkins. Click on the systems option here. In the system, search for SonarQube. So I'm going to do Control F. Let's search for Sonar, and you can see SonarQube server and then installation. So click on add SonarQube, and in this, we need to put the name. So for the name, we are going to say Sonar-server. For the URL, we are going to copy the URL that is here. Usually, both of these Jenkins and SonarQube are on the same server. So you can also put localhost, which I'm going to copy the IP address with the port 9000 and put it in my Jenkins here. For authentication, we are going to use the local API now, which is sonar-open, and that is all we need for now. In the system section, click on apply and click on save. Now, if you come back to CI/CD pipeline, you can see there is also a tool that is which is known as Sonar Scanner. So we need to create this tool. So I'm going to go to manage Jenkins again. In the tool section, let's go and search for Sonar Cube now. So you'll see Sonar Cube Scanner installation. Let's add that. Let's name this as Sonar Scanner. Make sure you have the same name as you see in this particular pipeline. So I'll do that and leave the version as it is. Click on apply and click on save. So our pipeline is ready to deploy an application now. So I'm going to click on new item. Select the name. Your name is going to be Netflix. You can name it anything you like. Click on the pipeline option because we are creating a pipeline that we have. And then click on OK option. Once you click on OK, you need to go to pipeline section and you need to paste the pipeline that I have here. But if you are new to Jenkins or if you are new to Groovy pipeline, you can use this tool which is pipeline syntax. Let's copy this for now and go back to this, paste it, click on apply and save, and then run the pipeline. So till the pipeline is going to be created or running, I'll explain you the code now for the pipeline here. So in this particular pipeline, it is using some tools named JK 17 and 16. We also use Scanner, which is Sonar Scanner. Then there is some stages. The first stage is to clean the workspace to make sure everything is clean and fresh. Next is to check out from the Git, so get the code on the GitHub. The next node is to run some analysis on that code to make sure that everything is fine and there are issues. We should get an error. So you can see the project name as next here, and we need to create that. So if I go to using Jenkins, I have to click on project option here. Click on manually. Click give the name. I'll file the name as Netflix because that is what we use in our CI/CD pipeline. And if you click on locally, you click on generate. This is what you get after you choose your operating system and the code. And this is what we have used in our code here as well. Sonar.project.p, Sonar project name. So you can see the pipeline as I guess came up with this is why we are seeing this thing here. So let me show you. In here we are done with Sonar analysis, and this is why we have a report being created on Sonar Cube page. So it has scanned around 3.2 kilobytes, and we can also see more information about issues. So these are all the different issues, and you can see bugs, code smells, vulnerabilities, scope, and everything. So if you look at this error, this is saying that you have used as a small case, you need to replace it as a bigger case to make sure that the code is proper. These are all the different security checks that it has done on our code present in the GitHub repo. So this means the pipeline is run, and if you look at the last stage after the Sonar Cube, we have the quality gate. The quality gate is something which checks everything is fine and then move it to the next stage. If you don't know what quality gate is, let's just have a quick look at it. So if I do quality gate, you can see quality gate in a project that requires predefined criteria being met before the project can proceed to the next phase. So we are doing quality check, make sure everything is fine, and then go ahead and install our dependencies, which will deploy our application. So yeah, this is what we have till now. Let's go and see how we done some tasks here. We created two instances, large instances that's done. We have Jenkins CI/CD pipeline with security. This is still in progress because now we have 4 or 5 pages just to install have Sonar Cube, but we also used Privy in our project, if you remember. And this is not in Docker particular yet. We need to install Docker to make sure in the Jenkins to make sure that we are creating a build which is going to be Docker image. We also need to integrate Preview here to check the image, and if this is the dependency here, we need to make sure that the dependencies that is installed are also secure